Welcome to the Nature Codes. I'm Amira Daly, a nature channel healer and mentor devoted to guiding women back into alignment. Through the wisdom of nature, I work with rituals, meditation, channeling, and light language to support deep energetic transformation. The Nature Codes podcast is for those wishing to reconnect with their inner light, transform the space they live in, and connect with the healing codes and wisdom of nature. Come with me on this path. Welcome to the Nature Codes. In this episode, I share my own journey of moving through deep shyness, anxiety, and the release of energetic blocks, including past life wounds and the witch wound, and how healing these layers can help us reconnect with our true gifts and soul expression in this lifetime. I also channel a powerful message from Gaia about the profound transformation currently unfolding on Earth. She speaks about humanity moving through a caterpillar to butterfly metamorphosis, why all eyes are on the Earth during these unprecedented times, and how time itself appears to be accelerating as what we once believed to be fantasy begins revealing itself as truth. It's a deeply beautiful and transformative message. So stay tuned for that. At the end of the episode, I also channel light language from Gaia to support your own personal transformation and energetic expansion. I've always been a very shy child, a very quiet person. But then I've had my moments, like I'm quite overtly excitable and fun-loving and sometimes hyper, but deep down I'm still that child that is like deeply shy and emotional and sensitive. But as a child I was that, like when I was like up until probably secondary school, where I came out a little bit more out of my shell, I was deeply shy. In fact, the first 2 years of school, my teacher said, one of the teaching assistants said to my mum, "Does she speak English? She's very, very quiet. She doesn't speak." And I was obviously quite shocked, and so was my mum, that I literally came across as someone who didn't even speak English, which is funny. And I didn't even want to put my hand up to ask to go to the loo. I didn't want to speak out at all, to the point where I'd make myself really uncomfortable and anxious because I needed to say something, but I just didn't want to draw attention to myself. So it was deep, it was like really deep wounding from a very, very early age. And I guess I started to come out of my shell more in secondary school, and I actually counteracted my shyness because I just remember being feeling like I hate being shy. I really hate it. It's not nice. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. And so I would actively go out of my way when I felt comfortable with people to be loud and hyper, silly, funny. I just remember almost putting on a persona, which is really a lot of people do this, I think, because they're scared of being themselves. And effectively, that's what I was. I was deeply scared of being myself. And, I'm only starting to learn who I am really now because I put on so many different masks. And I also didn't feel comfortable around certain people. I would get this instinct of okay, they don't feel safe. And I would then become shy around them. But then also some people who I felt deeply relaxed with, I'd be like, oh, I don't need to put on this show. So I think I only showed myself to certain people that I felt safe with. But then I also was severely guarding myself against others who I really didn't feel safe with. And then to others where it was like I felt the fun vibes, I would be loud and engaging. So it was a very, very mixed bag and very, very confusing. And I think I'm only starting to make sense of it now, how I think I am very so intuitive. I know deep down what people's soul is and their higher self. And so my body reacts very differently towards different types of people, essentially. So then I moved into university, and I really started to come into my own, although I then had deep insecurities that came up, deep anxieties. I didn't really know how I fit into the world. I just decided, like, I did a biology degree and then paleontology, but I never really felt like I fit in to the science world. Like, I was deeply terrified of speaking about science. Like, I, it just, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't articulate myself well enough in a scientific way. I'd find it really difficult, like almost like I was blocked. And so I thought that I was a bad speaker, and I was like, I had this real wounding where I didn't think I could speak because of all of my childhood experiences, and then going into a science world where I wasn't made to speak about science. I'm not made to speak about those kinds of things, whereas other people were, and they just like it would flow out of them. And I just felt like that wasn't in my capabilities. And I'll come on to the reasons why later, because I found out only relatively recently what I'm meant to be speaking and saying. So yeah, like although I was really good at science, like I almost got a first. My written dissertations and all of that were like I got like over 80% for, but I just could not speak it. It was really weird. Like looking back, I understand why, but at the time I was like, why can't I articulate myself? I didn't really understand. I decided to go into TV because I had this deep calling. I don't know, I felt like my whole childhood was like very TV orientated in so many different ways, not just the watching of it, but like I'd go to TV shows, I'd be in the audience. I was like, I don't know, TV would just always find me. Like fame, I don't know what it was, but there was something there. Now I know because I'm deeply rooted into like expression and broadcasting in my astrology basically. But I didn't know at the time, and I just felt this real pull towards the excitement of TV, I guess. And because I was so into animals and wildlife, and I went to Bristol Uni to do paleontology, it was just such a natural thing to fall into natural history television. So I spent 15 years in the BBC Natural History Unit mostly. It was a very strange affair because I knew that I had this broadcasting element, journalist, like I was deeply seated in that, but I didn't want to put my hand up, speak up. Like it was a real push to like be vocal. And I did manage to, but it was real, like I really had to like push myself. I also hated filming. I had massive blocks filming. I now realised that it was because I was getting the darker vibes of TV in that way. I think television in general, and I say this in a loving way because I absolutely loved the Natural History Unit. I loved the BBC, like everyone was so lovely. Everyone was just really, lovely people. But there's this element that I think I sensed that was deeper than all of that, that was like darker energy essentially. And a lot of that came out when people were stressed or rushed or like fighting deadlines, and unfortunately that all comes out during filming. So I started to hate the filming process, and so I went into archive, and basically what archive producers do is they find these shots that haven't been filmed, and they find those from various different archives. So I would be putting like shots of dolphin, whale in from other that were filmed by other programs essentially. So I found like a niche that made me feel comfortable, because I wasn't going out filming every day. I wasn't doing like 12-hour days. I was in the office, but then I was also being creative, because I was finding like really amazing shots, and like a lot of the productions loved the shots that I was finding. I don't know, I've got this eye for lovely shots. So I kind of did that, but then I just started to feel like after a while, this wasn't for me. This wasn't my path. This wasn't the environment that made me feel safe, made me feel like it made me it made me start feeling ill. I just couldn't muster up the energy to do it for much longer. And that's when I started going into my spiritual self and realizing I had all of these gifts. I looked into my astrology, and I've got like deep broadcasting energy, I guess is the only word I can describe. I've got a lot of my chart in Gemini. I'm a Libran and I'm Virgo rising, but a lot of my chart is in Gemini. So I've got my North Node in Gemini, which mean your North Node is basically where you're going, like your direction in life. So Gemini is all about communication. It's all about like basically broadcasting, whether it's written, spoken. It's all about that. So yeah, I had my North Node, which is my direction in life. It was also my 10th house, which is my career, as Gemini. So that's again like broadcasting and all of that. I have my moon in Gemini, which is talking about feelings, basically, which is where this all comes into with the science, the feeling blocked about talking about science. I am blocked talking about factual, scientific things, even though I'm deeply knowledgeable in it. I just don't feel like I can speak about it very well. My moon is in Gemini, and so I am very comfortable talking about my emotions. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very comfortable talking about myself, talking about my issues, talking about my problems, talking about my path. Like, I think I was put on this planet to be vocal about it, essentially. All of my like human design, my gene codes are also like massive like communicator. And it's just so funny, because when I was looking at it, I was thinking, but that's not what I saw like when I was younger. And the interesting thing is that my astrology, my Chiron, which is your deepest wounds. So Chiron is an asteroid. I'm not very clued up on astrology. I only know the bare basics, but I think I remember reading it was an asteroid. And it is your deepest wounding. That is also in my 10th house Gemini. So my deepest wounding is my voice and my work. And boy, has that shown itself over the last few years. I mean, and over my whole life. I'm only starting to overcome those deep-seated fears and blocks now. When I started my podcast, I mean, it's been a work in progress. Like, this podcast has massively helped me shift that, because I'm able to speak freely about the things that I'm meant to be speaking about. Also, my Leo is in the 12th house, and Leo is like confidence, ambition, energy, and 12th house is spiritual. So you can see that like all of this adds up to being like you're meant to be speaking about spirituality, and it's meant to be your work and your life's work. So yeah, that's super interesting. And once I discovered all of that, it gave me so much more confidence, because I started to really understand myself. And if anyone hasn't looked into their astrology, their gene codes, their human design, I would really look into it, because it can answer so many different questions. And it's interesting because I was filming myself doing this podcast a few weeks ago, and I just was feeling like really blocked for some reason about doing it, and I really just did not enjoy it. And then when I looked into my astrology and asked the right questions, it basically said that I struggle to speak fluently when I'm distracted by visuals. If you've been doing the inner work, healing, growing, shifting your energy, but something still feels off, like your environment just isn't supporting your journey, this is for you. It could be that there's stagnant or stuck energy within your home. As you rise and expand, your space can sometimes hold on to those lower or misaligned frequencies that begin to weigh on you, holding you back. Using my nature-based healing modality and light language, I work to shift your space back into resonance so your environment fully supports the version of you you're becoming. I invite you to visit my website where you can learn more and book a free consultation. Your transformation isn't just within you, it's around you too. Which makes so much sense to me, because I've never been that person who's loved talking on camera. Like, radio is like almost something that I should have probably done more of, because I'm very much like a radio speaker, I think. And so yeah, I've stopped filming my podcast now, because I was like, I just want to align with like what I'm here to do and like my actual true essence. And my true essence is not wanting me to film myself, basically. Funnily enough, when I film for reels and things like that, I mean, it's not great, but I'm able to do that better than doing long form. Long form, I just can't seem to film myself. I was looking into my past lives as well, and I definitely had blocks in my throat chakra from Atlantis, witch wounding. So a lot of spiritual healers have huge blocks in their throat, because if you are doing that kind of work in this life, you have been doing it in past lives. For your soul is basically programmed and is part of that continuation of healing, spirituality, spreading like the news, the word, like oracles, psychics. But in Earth's history, women especially were deeply persecuted for that. We all know about the witch hunts, and even Atlantis, a lot of healers and witches had blocks put on their crown chakra and their throats. And I've only started to completely start to remove those now in this life. So they tried to silence us, and this has all come from, this dark energy on Earth that's trying to control the Earth and control the people, and it doesn't want people to find their individuality and speak their truth, because it doesn't come into line with how they want the Earth to be. I've done a lot of work on myself, releasing blocks from past lives. It's been a big process, and I think it's going to be a life's work, really. Although now I'm feeling so much more confident, and yeah, I'm able to like speak my truth now. And like even a few years ago, I'd have been terrified to talk about spirituality to people, but now I'm just like starting to really not care. Like, I think the podcast is like a really good way of doing it because I don't actually feel like I feel like I'm just talking to one person. I'm not talking to lots of people. But I also feel like when I go out and socialize, I'm not hiding myself. I'm quite happy with who I am and like what I'm doing. And like if people don't like it, then they're not for me, kind of thing. I also have had the most amazing guides who have like helped me with this process, and they also carry broadcasting qualities, and so that's also why I know like my soul is spiritual broadcasting, basically, because of the kind of guides that I'm surrounded by. So yeah, everything is pointing to that, which is amazing, and I've just got to keep on this path. And I know that I am now connected to my soul purpose. Part of my soul purpose is connecting other people to their soul purpose and releasing their blocks, especially women with they have I had blocks in my roots, my sacral, my throat. I mean, yeah. I now know how to release blocks, connect people to their soul purpose, which is such a beautiful thing to do for people, and I absolutely love doing it. One of my clients came to me because she felt like she was meant to be broadcasting her frequencies, and she felt blocked in her throat because she felt like light language was coming on, but it was like being slightly blocked, and she felt like there was something in her throat that needed to be released. So I used the nature codes on her, and I released a lot of blocks through her body, but I really felt it in her throat. And when I went into her throat, I just saw this volcano, this angry volcano, and I thought, whoa, I don't really know what to do with that. So I intuitively started like calming the volcano down and like smoothing it, basically trying to flatten it out a bit and calm the fire. And I asked what it was, and it was like anger. So I channeled a meditation to start to calm this anger and release this anger that was hiding within this client's throat chakra. And she felt, as soon as I'd done a clearing on her, she started to get a sore throat, and she felt like, there was like, she knew that there was releasing happening in her throat, because often when you're releasing stuff, you'll get like pains or sore areas. Like some people, when they're releasing stuff in their wombs, will feel like intense pain during a clearing, and then it will just vanish. And I've had really sore throats over the last couple of years because I've been working on my throat chakra. So yeah, she got a sore throat, and then she started doing the meditation that I channeled for her, and so many past lives were coming up for her that she started to release through the meditation. She really felt like she was going deep into her block, basically. Over the last few weeks, she's been going through deep upgrades on her throat, and now she feels like, she messaged me the other day and she feels really open. Her throat's open now, and she can talk about things that she was scared to talk about before, and she doesn't feel like she's constantly stopping herself talking. Her light language is coming through more now, and I'm like really like grateful to be able to be doing this work, because yeah, I know just how deep and powerful these healings are, and for other people to experience it, it's just absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm excited to be sharing all this with you guys. So now it's time for a channel from the Earth, Gaia. Gaia was very clear on how the Earth's timeline is speeding up, and it's just so interesting to hear all of this from her perspective. I then channeled some light language to help us through these transformational times. She explains the process as a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis, and we were all going through this process together. So allow the light language to really wash over you and help you with your own inner transformational process. I am here with you now, across time and space, to help you with this channel to the people. I am going through a huge transformation in my journey, something unprecedented on so many levels, something that has not been seen within the universe before. It is a transformation that all eyes are on right now. It is something that's so deep and symbolic on my journey through the universe that it is really quite beautiful. As I said, many eyes are on the earth, the ecosystems, and the people. We are all going through huge transformations. This is happening on the micro and macro level across all life forms. The transformation you are feeling within is happening to myself, Gaia, as well. It is the same process. We are being flooded with new codes, new information, and time is speeding up. So much is happening all at once. We are feeling overwhelmed and like life is changing so rapidly it is hard to keep up. What we once thought was fantasy is now becoming real. My evolution has been woken up so that the energies that are swirling within me are expanding and becoming higher and higher. This high frequency energy is in turn being transferred into everything and everyone on earth. What happens to me happens to you. The traumas, the destruction, the peace, the love. As above, so below. We are all one. What you feel within you is felt within me too. There has been a long period of stasis where things have moved very slowly and movement felt too slow and held back. This was a time of great trauma for us all. The shadows were lurking and we felt unable to change or see change. However, this has now changed. We are now more in control, in charge of our own evolution. We can think something one day and it happens the next. Things are moving extremely fast. It is a very exciting time for all because this is the era of transformation. In a period of transformation, bizarre things may unfold, things we did not realize were present or we may even be shocked by. But this is part of the release, part of the unfolding and part of the movement forward. We are going through a period of great and immense change. We will not look the same in a few years from now, a few months, even a few weeks. Evolution has sped up. It is important, therefore, to not cling on to things. Do not rely on material things. Do not rely on anything being set or certain. We are indeed moving towards stability in a more positive world. However, during the transformation phase, we must be open to this unfurling, the reveal, the pace, the movement into things we had not realized. These are all unfolding for a reason. We are moving towards a more peaceful time, a time that will see great things and such beauty, but we must also see the opposite during this time of transformation. The caterpillar has to pull itself apart and turn itself to the dark and the shadow for it to turn into a beautiful butterfly. This is what we are seeing on Earth. We are going through the chrysalis phase. Big things are evolving, moving and transforming. Whilst this phase is moving forward, we must be open to change. Be open to the things not working out the way we would hope, but nevertheless to have faith that things are moving exactly how they should. On part of my surface now, we have great wars and traumas, but in others there is such beauty and ever-evolving peace. We must move through both all at the same time. Patience and trust in the transformation process is needed. The knowing that we are moving towards great times and all will be well. We need the darkness, the shadows to reveal the light. It is all evolving as it should. Trust. sending love, hope, and unity to all.
Oia ino kore ka I ko na ino koi na ma I o. Leo ma I koi mora ina moi ka. Umakai no moko na ma I. Uma ino kora na ma ino ko. I lora I. Oko I. Moi. Kina koi na ma kina ma koi ya. Makishna ina moi gai, onkorai, luia mai, uyai, okoina mai, oyai no koia, inkai kai, oya ino koia, oya koia oma oya ino koia mora, ika ino mora, ino mokoia ni. Oya, moia, ika ino koia ma. Oya omakino koia luna ika ino ia oya moia, ina moia, ika ino koia moia, oya ankoria moria, omai ino koshna oya oma ino koia mora omakino koia oya 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 aino ea ora ino koia uma oya mora ina mora li kora nama oshna ino mora oya ma ino kora oma kai kora nama oya alora ushna kai rona kai olai nama kora nama ona kai.
Thank you for listening to the Nature Codes podcast. I am so excited to be sharing all of this with you in the hope that it might spark something within you. An energy to care for yourselves, your home, and your spaces, so that together we can more gently and powerfully support the healing of the planet as a whole. If you would like to know more about how I can support you on your healing journey, whether that's working with your energy, your space, or both, please visit my website. You'll find all the links in the show notes below, including how to book your free consultation. I'll see you in the next episode.